Today, we're here talking about 3 super easy photo ideas you could take into your next photo shoot. My goal for these is for you guys to hopefully have some of these props or items sort of lying around your house already. Super easy, super low budget. And also, if you want, feel free to replace these with different things you already have. It's totally open-ended. I'm a portrait photographer, so these are sort of geared towards having a subject in your photo. But yeah, feel free to take these concepts and sort of skew them into your own sort of individual style. I think that's my favorite thing about drawing inspiration from other photographers is being able to put my own spin on it. I think it's really cool that no 2 photos will look the same and you can make it your own. I would also love to make this sort of easy photo shoot ideas a series. I have a lot more in mind. So if you do enjoy the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up so I know to do more just like this one. Starting off, this photo idea involves using different sort of jars or glasses or vases. Me and Allie are currently in my kitchen where we just set up this whole sort of scene. We have a bunch of different colored glasses. And then for the lighting, I have the Moelis X60 attached onto an optical spot. And within that, I put a sort of window blinds gobo and defocused it. So it's creating this really nice light onto Allie. And we're just gonna be playing around with the placement of the glasses and Allie's posing. And it's literally super simple. I'm literally in my kitchen, but it's gonna look sick. So if you can kind of lean into the light a little bit like that, once your eyes, once your eyes feel like they're in the light. For this, I did have a few of the glasses already at home, but I kind of had a particular vibe in mind. So I made my way to a thrift store and grabbed a few that I thought were photogenic enough and really complement each other in terms of the shapes and the colors. And because these glasses have a colored sort of transparency to them, they look especially cool when light is shined through them. Whether it's natural daylight or you're adding in your own light, it should sort of reflect or distort the light and create these really cool pretty colors or patterns. Because this all depends on the glasses you use and also your light and where exactly it's hitting your glasses. I will say we found that it works best with direct sunlight, but of course the day we were shooting it was cloudy, so I just ended up bringing my own direct light source here. So I totally recommend you to get really experimental with the positioning of your glasses and your light, and also ways you could have your model interact with them. Maybe they're holding the glasses up to their face or they're sort of laying across where the light is being cast. I feel like this one in particular looks best when the background is fairly simple. Maybe it's a sort of clean white tabletop like we had here. We were shooting in my kitchen here obviously, but I almost wish we had put like a clean white backdrop behind Allie here because I feel like the combination would just look a little bit more polished and editorial even. And if you're going for that sort of editorial look, you could have your subject do poses that feel straight out of a magazine. So making lots of shapes with their arms. Editorial poses to me always feel sort of relaxed, but in a controlled way with lots of movement and bold expression. Posing and directing can definitely be tough, especially on the spot. So I'd recommend saving some poses beforehand to reference. That way you can just pull them up while you're on your shoot, show your model to recreate, and you're good to go. But yeah, here are the photos we ended up with. Next, we're talking about ways you could frame your subject, and by being really mindful of this, you can make your composition stronger. And you could do this in many ways, but because today we're focusing on things that are just super obtainable to us and super easy, we're gonna be shooting in a doorway. This one almost sounds like too simple, but I swear it's such a great way to almost naturally crop your image. So for this, I'm using a 2-light setup. I have that Moelis X60 attached to a bones mount once again with that optical spot, but this time I removed the gobo, so it's just projecting a spotlight. And then for the backlight we're gonna have onto Allie, we're using the Storm 80C with this Fresnel and barn doors. So it's just projecting this red sort of light over here to give some dimension to Allie in the back. So we moved on over from the kitchen to literally the living room. Again, you could do this wherever you want. Any doorway works. Allie, if you want to jump in. Yes. Okay, and then come like a little closer, like on that sort of doorway right there. Yeah. Okay, for this one, once again, I'm using my Nikon Z9. I have the 24-70 f2.8 lens attached, and then I have a half-strength Cinesoft filter to give this a sort of dreamy vibe, which I feel like will work good with this sort of setup. Shooting in the doorway is also so great to have your subject be able to have something to naturally pose off of. Posing can be super tough, especially for someone who hasn't modeled before, and the best images, I think, really include a subject who looks and feels comfortable. So the door frame here is super helpful to have your model either lean up against it, or maybe they could stand in the middle for symmetry. There's a lot you could do here, but that surrounding area can create some really cool negative space, which can be super captivating in an end result photo. And to elevate this even further, you could even include a sheer sort of curtain in the background or play up the styling. In my case, to have it be more interesting, I added in some of that cool moody lighting. Even if you have one simple light behind your model set to a color of your choice, that will create a really cool silhouette. If you don't have some sort of professional RGB light like this, you can use a lamp or even just the natural light that's coming through. One thing I always emphasize when talking through little tips and tricks like this is the lighting. So always be mindful of your light. Is it morning or midday light? Maybe the blinds are down and the light is creating a really cool texture through it. Or maybe you want your shots to be super moody and you do your shoot at night and add some sort of cinematic fog. It's all up to you. Also, because we're shooting in my home, there's obviously a lot of those extra items and random things in the background. So also be mindful of this because it can definitely be super distracting and just take away from your overall composition. So you can obviously just clean these things up in real life, or for things that are like nailed to the wall, you could just clean it up in editing. Obviously it takes more time, but it's always possible. Next up is shooting with glass. First tip was like glassware. This one's like almost like a sheet of glass. So think mirrors or the clear glass door to your shower, because with this we can get super creative with the reflections and the light as well. One way of doing this, which I've seen a lot of, but I have never really done it myself, so this video was a great excuse to do so, is spraying some water or mist on a mirror or a glass door, and then using colored lighting or a warm sort of temperature to emphasize the mood. This combination will create a really cool looking texture to your photo, and you can have your subject on the other side of that glass and shoot through it. It's totally up to you, but if you want to get everything in focus, so meaning the droplets and your model, you could set whatever lens you're using to a higher f-stop, so something maybe above like 5. If you're looking to maybe shoot through the droplets and have them a bit blurred and really focus in on your subject, you could opt for a lower f-stop, so something like 1.8 or 1.2. I also feel like if you do decide to bring color into this, that could really drive your shot in a different direction as well, so just be sure to choose something that fits whatever you're going for. You can add smears or handprints to the glass for more of a mysterious vibe. I was actually having some trouble with my focus because it couldn't quite find Allie, so I ended up just wiping my hands across where her eyes were, because if you're trying to get your subject's face in focus, the eyes are the most important part. Again, there are just so many different options you can go with all of these. And that's why I love photography, because I feel like everything I mentioned today is just things we kind of come across every single day. It's really about like getting inspired by things that are super mundane and adding your own creative flair on it. So when you are feeling uninspired, try looking around the room, find the closest object to you, and then try to imagine yourself doing an entire photo shoot based on that item, thinking about how maybe your subject could pose with it, how you can light it, or maybe it can reflect light. I feel like that's one way I love to just get re-inspired if I'm not feeling super into it in the moment. Once again, I'm totally down to make more of these, so if you enjoyed, let me know in the comments down below. And if you do decide to recreate any of these, definitely tag me on Instagram. It's @BrandonWoelfel. I would love to see. And with all of that, I will see you guys soon. Bye.